Okay, well here's the ST1300. This is the bike I ended up with after pretty much deciding of one of three bikes, the FJR by Yamaha and the Kawasaki Concours. This is the bike I eventually got, and a lot of the decision of buying this bike had to do in some part to the fact that I already have a Super Sport, the GSXR 750. So I didn't really want a whole bunch of overlap going on here. I didn't really need a high adrenaline kind of super high horsepower that kind of bike, because I already have it in this bike here, which is way faster than I can possibly use anyway. So I've read just about every review, seen every YouTube video, heard everything there is to hear about those three bikes in question. Another two bikes that were in the same kind of grouping, the BMW 1200 I think it is, and the Triumph Sprint GT were not available in my town, that small town that I live in. In fact, there was just one ST, one Kawasaki, and one Yamaha FJR in the whole town. So I pretty much had the decision between the three. Now, the only advantage of all the reviews and everything I've read about these three bikes is that the increased horsepower of the Yamaha and the Kawasaki. But it's really kind of a deceptive thing, because, you know, if you look at the dyno charts of these bikes, up to 6,000 RPM, they're almost identical. And beyond that, I'm telling you, this bike is plenty fast. You probably will not be using, unless you're kind of a... I mean, if I had one bike to choose and could only keep one bike, I'd probably go for the Kawasaki, because of the, if you do want to do a little bit more enthusiastic riding. I don't know why anybody would want to go that fast on a bike that big, but it could be done. But let me tell you, after riding this bike about 1,000 kilometers now, this bike is plenty fast, tons of passing power. There's not even an issue as far as the horsepower. So once you take the horsepower out of the equation, and the torque figures are pretty similar to these bikes. In fact, this is probably the best low-end torque bike of the three. But once you take that horsepower and torque ratings out of the picture, this comes out as the superior bike for what I want, which is a comfortable long-distance touring bike. Any other parameters you look at, brakes, either the best or as good as any of the other two bikes. Wind protection, number one, no question. As far as comfort and seating, there's a huge seat here. You got lots of room. Ergonomics, probably the best. Gas mileage, even though it's the heaviest bike, comes through with the best gas mileage. I'm getting about, in imperial gallons, about 46 miles to the gallon, which is better than my Gixxer. So, which I was and have been using as a cruising bike. Lots of luggage space. Very smooth power delivery. There's definitely no drama involved in a bike like this. You just go faster and faster as the revs pick up and the throttle opens up. Really quiet, nice stable airflow. This thing will go up about 7 inches, but I'm using on the lowest level because that's, I don't know, when you're on a bike you want to hear the wind. If you put it at the highest level, there is zero wind. You're in sort of a vacuum there. The wind sort of curls around the back and hits you in the back. It just doesn't feel like you're on a motorcycle when you're totally blocked off from the wind. But on the lowest level here, the wind flow is non-turbulent. It's just a nice steady stream. As far as styling of the bike, I like it. Some people think it's dated or whatever. I think it's kind of classic. The only thing I don't really care for are the big wings out here. I know they'll come in handy if and when the bike tips over. The taillight's a bit dated. I mean, I don't have any LEDs there. There's a couple of bulbs there. But other than that, I like the dual exhaust, the nice stainless steel exhaust. It's a good... I like the style of the bike. The dash, the reviewers all complain about the dash, but it's pretty easy to read. It's just like a car dash. The display is a bit faint, hard to read, but no biggie. Would've liked the heated grips, but I do have heated gloves, so that's not a major issue. Lots of nice storage. What else can you say? Handling seems to be really nice. What's the thing you have to get used to on a bike like this? It's definitely a heavier bike than one I'm used to, like the Gixxer or my FZ6R over there. But I think once you get used to a bike like this, and I'm just still in the learning phase of what it can do. I absolutely love the brakes. The link brakes are pretty cool. First I thought it was a gimmick, but when you're in a corner or you're really comfortable where you are, you just don't want to take your right foot off that peg. Applying the front brakes also gives a little bit of rear braking, so it steadies the bike down in a no dive, in other words, no front end dive at all. Handles, or the ride I should say, is really plush. It seemed to handle the bumpy roads that I was on this morning really well. Absolutely no, I mean, it's like almost like the Terminator. It just doesn't have a lot of emotion. You don't get the same contact with the road that you do on a sport bike like over there. But on the other hand, I bought this for the sole purpose of long distance, relatively high speed riding. I mean, I didn't want to go the cruiser route or the Harley route because I want to be able to take this up to some decent speeds when I get the ability. And believe me, this thing rolls on the speed pretty good. No time, after a turn and twist of the throttle, you're way up to 160, 170, 180. No drama. You have to keep your eyes on that tachometer and speedometer because you don't get a lot of feedback from the sound of the engine because it doesn't make a lot of sound. The V4 is kind of unique for me. But, comparing to those other two bikes, I like the style of this. I like the intention, which is more of a touring bike than a sport bike. I don't need the overlap with this bike here. So far really happy with the bike. It seems to be really comfortable. I haven't adjusted the seat. It can move up, which is, I might move it up a little bit. So far I think I made a good decision on this. I got a pretty good discount on it because this is actually a 2010 bike that was brand new still, so it comes with a 3-year warranty still. And I was able to probably got this bike for a couple of thousand less than I could have got the Concours or the FJR. Heavy? Yeah, it's a heavy bike. It's got maybe 100 pounds more than the other two bikes. I'm not sure. But if the Honda president would have gone to the engineers in Honda and said, I need a bike to be 100 pounds lighter, they could have done it, no doubt, but it wouldn't be the same bike. I mean, the weight's there for a reason. And when you're riding this thing, it feels so freaking solid. I mean, it feels like it's built like a tank and handles like a feather. So whatever they've done, if you took 100 pounds off this bike, it wouldn't be the same quality bike. I mean, this bike feels totally solid and planted when you're riding it. And you really don't feel the weight at all. And it's not that bad to maneuver. I mean, if you're going to be in a position where you're going to have to back up, obviously you're going to be not wanting to be on a slope of any kind. Yeah, I like the styling of it. I like the easy maintenance for sure. I've already changed the oil and filter, and piece of cake. You don't have to take any fairings off or anything like that. If you want to change the plugs, they're right here on this V4 configuration. Of course, got the shaft drive. So easy maintenance it should be anyway. I should have pretty much a zero maintenance schedule on this bike. I mean, oil changes are scheduled for 12,000 kilometers. That's pretty wild if you want to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool bike. I mean, I don't know why they only put the little tire on the back. There's only about a 170. The other bikes have a 180 and 190. But I guess, when they figure it all out, that's the best tire for the bike. Probably makes it a little easier for lateral kind of movements. So yeah, I've got about just over 1,000 clicks on this bike. Done the first service, oil change. Like I say, super easy. It's got the center stand, which is nice, what it's on now. I mean, it looks big, but once you're on it, you feel secure. You feel like you're I guess the same feeling when you get on a high quality SUV. You just feel like you're really secure and planted on the road. A really skilled rider who had this bike a long time, I bet you they really could attack the corners on it, knowing what it can do and what it can't do. So yeah, so I picked this one over the Yamaha. I picked it over the Kawasaki, and I think one reason, actually two more reasons. I've owned about 4 or 5 Honda vehicles in the past. My current vehicle, the Saturn Vue, has a Honda V6 in it, Honda drivetrain, and if there's one thing about Honda, one thing they know how to do is build an internal combustion engine, and they just do it right. I don't think there's a company on earth that builds internal combustion engines as well as Honda does. So I always got a fuzzy, warm feeling in my heart when I think of the word Honda. Never owned a Honda motorcycle before. Now I've got the Suzuki and the Yamaha, so I don't really have any kind of brand loyalty. But yeah, when I think of Honda, I think of quality. I think of something really well done. The other thing, I had some really good experience with a salesman, which is kind of hard to find in our town. Most of the motorcycle salesmen here really haven't got a clue what they're doing. But this guy was a good dude. I got a good feeling from the Honda dealership, something that I don't get when I walk into the Triumph, Ducati, BMW dealership. So that was another thing that kind of steered me away from those bikes. I think you got to have a good relationship with your dealer and feel good about your purchase. Not feeling like you got ripped off or it was a real struggle. It was actually a really easy purchase to make. So anyway, for those who say you should have got a Kawasaki or you should have got the FJR, for my purposes, for what I need, for what I want, this is to me the perfect purchase of those 3 bikes. So I intend to have this thing a long freaking time. I know this motor will last at least 100,000 clicks or more, probably more, the way they make these things. I'm going to use it mainly for the highway, for longer stints, short sprints on the highway, sprinter, marathoner, and a nice little urban bike here. So I'm pretty much set for motorcycles. I think I wouldn't mind having a dedicated off-road bike that can be street, like that Suzuki maybe, what the hell is it? That Suzuki 400. That's streetable but mainly off-roadable. That would pretty much complete things until I get my Gold Wing, maybe in about 5 years or so. The other thing, speaking of Gold Wings, my wife was on the back of this, and neither she or I are featherweights, and I swear to God, I didn't even know she was on there. This thing just pulled, accelerated, passed just as easily with her on or with her off, and it's a nice big seat for her too. So carrying a pillion, not major thing with me, way better than the V-Strom for sure, and you didn't even notice any kind of difference in acceleration or didn't bog down or anything like that. It was like she wasn't even on there. So that's a big plus if you are planning to carry someone going 2 up. And I guess I've said all there is to say about my latest purchase. Latest and final. I've bought 4 freaking motorcycles in the last 4 years, brand new ones. This is it. I did not fall in love with that V-Strom. I could not fall in love with it, no matter how hard I tried. But you have to, I think, fall in love with your bikes if you're going to keep them. I absolutely love my 750. I love my first bike, sentimental value. That's the bike I learned how to ride on, so I got a real soft feeling for that bike there. It's a keeper. 750 is a keeper, and now I've got my long distance tour set to go. Yippee!